Hello and welcome to Columbus Local Podcast. I'm Len D'Amico and this is episode number 90. And tonight we have Richard Dell.
Hey.
Richard, what's happening?
I'm good. It's a good day. Number 90. I like that number.
Number 90, I know. You lucked out.
I like even numbers, so that's a good thing.
A lot of people luck out, you know. They're like, oh, that means something to me. It's cool. 90.
Yeah.
90. My firstborn son was born in 1990.
Oh, wow.
That's what it means to me. It's good stuff.
Nice.
And we're just 10 episodes away from Cento.
If I could have only waited 10 episodes, it could have been right there.
It's coming. Something will happen. Richard Dell, man, multi-instrumentalist, right?
Yeah, I play a couple, yeah. Yeah, bass, keyboards. I started out as a trumpet player, jazz and marching band and stuff like that, and went into rock and crossed over the line into the stringed instruments.
When you crossed over, what did you pick up bass at that point?
Yeah, I played a
first?
little guitar, but mostly bass.
Okay.
It was pretty much Les Claypool from Primus that steered me in that direction. I'd say Les Claypool and Flea were the two influences.
Oh, yeah, man.
So I played in this band in high school, and I was playing trumpet. And we were doing, and this is 92, 93 time frame. We were doing this weird stuff like Ministry, and then we play a ska song or something like, I don't know. We're doing all kinds of stuff. And my bass player, I just liked the bass. And I'm like, hey, man, you got one I could borrow? He's like, yeah. And he gave me this little Mustang. He's like, you can have this thing. It's a little Mustang. So I would take it home and I would just sit there and play Frizzle Fry. And Sailing the Seas of Cheese, I think, at the time, came right out throughout that time. And I blasted the E string off of it, but I have never broken an E string since. But I broke the E string on that one trying to learn Primus.
Wow.
Hurt, but it was fun.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah. So that was my foray
Les
into it.
Claypool, man. How can you not be inspired by those?
He's amazing. Well, Paul McCartney too. I was into the Beatles quite a bit. Yeah, for a long time.
The genius of McCartney bass lines, because I've recently started studying some song, and there's some Beatles songs, like I Want to Hold Your Hand. I'm like, Jesus, I gotta learn this song. So I started working on that bass line. I'm like, oh my God, this is it's like a little spine.
Yeah.
A little spine of little pops, you know?
Yeah, he's amazing.
And it's fun to play.
He's amazing. And he writes this stuff so effortlessly. And it's, I played the Beatles band, I did keyboards, and I actually created backing tracks with trumpets for Beatles song for this Beatles band. So I never got to play bass in it. But I always said, hey man, if you're not going to, Paul McCartney got like, if you're not going to be there, he's like, yeah, I'm always going to be there, man. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm not going to play bass in this Beatles band, but it's fine. But no, he's definitely a hero as well. But that's kind of what got me into it.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you messing around with Moog pedals and stuff like that? Like,
I have a synth, but I only use it for a couple things. Okay. I did buy this, I can't remember the name of the brand of it, something I saw on, believe it or not, like Instagram. It's some British company.
One of those Instagram ads that you scroll through? And
yeah.
Like, ooh.
Yeah, and the guy's playing, and it's like got 4 modes of different colors, and it's a fuzz and a distortion and an overdrive in one, and you can mix it. 4 bass? Yeah.
Really?
And it sounds so good. I haven't added it to my arsenal yet, but I'm trying to figure out how to loop it in.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
We'll have to talk about that later.
Yeah, I'll have to look it up. I can't remember what it's called. It's sitting.
That sounds like something fun to play with. I need maybe a rack compressor too for my next thing. Rack mountable compressor. I have a pedal, but I don't know if it's going to be my long-term compressor.
There's nothing wrong with the pedal. The rack just makes it easier.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Well, we'll talk about all that. Anyway, I think too. So it's important to note that you're involved in a couple projects currently, right?
Yes.
I mean, Richard Dell. Okay.
Yeah, I'm in Phoenix Rising, and I'm in Atomic Elbow. Phoenix Rising, I co-founded with Don Duryea, from Vodka Rocks. And at the time, I was in Vodka Rocks for about a year. I think it's the last, was that 2018? I auditioned like 17. Did the whole 2018 season with them, and then decided to start our own thing. And Phoenix Rising was formed in 2019, January 1st.
Out of Ross Davis' studio, perhaps?
I'm not. Yeah, of course it was Ross's studio. We were over there practicing and auditioning people. But yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, and that version of the band had Johnny Pardon on drums. I think he was in Warhorse and some other bands around.
Yeah, Johnny.
Our singer was Angie. I think her last name is Elliott. I think it is.
Angie's gonna do a podcast episode.
Oh, she's so good,
dude. She's I can't wait to talk with them. There's good stuff going on there.
Her and Chris are both a good deal.
Stay tuned for that. That would be a good conversation. I can't wait.
I'm definitely going to listen. She was with the band for about, I think, a year.
Oh, okay.
And it was a fantastic year. And you've heard her sing, so you know what she can do.
I've heard her sing, man. She's amazing.
Yeah. We brought her into the room, and it was like, this is Janis Joplin embodied.
Yep.
With all this talent.
It's just amazing.
She's so good.
I know. There's a couple vocalists that are around that can do that.
Well,
she's one of them.
We're talking now about adding some songs, and one of the things we talked about was bringing back a Dio song that we used to do with her, which was "Last in Line," and it's hard to do Dio, and I think I can get Kelly on board with it.
Oh, Kelly can handle it.
Oh, I know she can handle it. I got to get her on board with it. I think she'll do it.
That's cool.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She probably owes you because from where I mean that in a affectionate way, right? Mm-hmm. Because Phoenix Rising's changed a lot.
Oh yeah.
And so how has it changed for you? Because you're a founding member with Don, and Don's a great player.
He's amazing. Yeah, he still
moved south.
Yeah, he's in Florida. Yeah, retired, living the retired life.
And I don't know if he's playing guitar.
Oh, he is. Okay, yeah, good. He has a
rock band.
What is it? Not Deep Purple, but
I kind of lost.
Ozzy, Black Sabbath.
Nice.
A Black Sabbath cover band, and another. It's Don. Like he's going to be amazing no matter where he goes.
Yep.
He's a hardworking guitarist. He works hard at being like top notch.
Yep.
He doesn't accept anything less. No. And it was a joy to work with him. But it did develop. When we started, we were coming out of Vodka Rocks doing the heavier stuff. That's what we love. That's what I love. That's what he loved. That's what we did. And we converted a little over. You got to go with what your band makeup is. And Johnny's great at like the Warhorse type stuff and the AC/DC, and he plays that stuff very well. He's just such a nice guy as well.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And Angie's great at like a lot of different things, but we found the niche with like the Dio and I think we did a couple Janis Joplin songs. We did this really eclectic mix. We did a Lita Ford song, and it was stuff that fit her perfectly, but we were like heavier, right?
Yeah.
And Angie used to play keyboards in that band too, so she had a role, and she get some patches and stuff like that. So she would do some of the keyboard stuff. And it was just this heavy band. And we were playing shows. We played it on the Rocks at the time, which became Last Call. Old Shakers, over by the by the casino. The rough part of town, Shakers. Great bar. We loved playing there.
Oh yeah. Great venue.
We did some Fenders, I think, some Lazy Chameleon at the time too. It's been a while, but I can't remember.
Yeah, you're playing all the bigger shows, bigger venues, I would say.
We were getting some bookings. We were starting to take off, and then Angie lives in Springfield, and Chris was in her old band, and she just wanted to do something different. And when we played Springfield shows, we played a couple Springfield shows. And her old band came out and they decided, hey, let's do this again, and we're like, oh, man, we hate to lose you, but, you got to go where your heart is. If that's where it is, it's what it is. So she moved on. About that time, Johnny was getting ready to I need a break type of thing. So we kind of reorganized, had to go back to finding another drummer and singer. So we started interviewing drummers, and we ended up with David Blosser. And I remember because there were a lot of drummers. There's not a lot of good drummers, but there's a lot of drummers.
There actually are a lot of good drummers in this town. There really are, but they're all taken.
Yeah,
they're all taken.
To that
they're
point,
all working, dude.
yes.
They got a couple of things going.
I didn't mean that there weren't a lot of good drummers in this town, but there weren't a lot of free good drummers at the time.
Exactly.
We happened to catch David,
right? Yeah, you caught him. It's cool.
And I saw this video of him playing the drum middle to Radar Love, and just nailing the shit out of it. Like, time was exquisite. The fills were just perfect. I'm like, who is this guy?
David Blosser.
Yeah. And I said to Don, I'm like, dude, we need to bring him in like right now. Don's like, yeah, he's pretty good. I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like, his time is impeccable. He's on everything. He has feel. Like, I want to play with that drummer.
Yeah.
And so we brought him in and we gelled. And so
wait, where did you see him actually? How'd you know of David?
Well, so when we hired for that band, I don't know why, but Don liked to do the Craigslist posting. So he would just blast Craigslist.
It's his process, right?
Yeah.
Tried and true.
David answered it. I hadn't seen him before. But when we answered it, like, we looked him up on Facebook, and he had that video posted.
There you go.
And so it was really cool.
Okay.
I think it still may be up there if you look at his page.
Oh, for sure.
But now we needed a singer. So we started that long process, and we determined that we wanted to have female singers because you can do a lot more with a female singer than you can with a male singer.
Oh, yeah.
So we auditioned a lot of great female vocalists, and then Cassie came into the picture. She showed up, and she had this immense stage presence. I mean, like, you can't not look at her when she's on the stage because
right.
she's got it.
She's all that. She's star quality. Boom, there it is.
Yeah, and she could sing, and she was into the heavy stuff, which was another plus because we had some singers where we said, hey, I don't remember what we said, something that was heavier, maybe with Hailstorm or something like that. Mm-hmm. And they would come in, and it wasn't the right sound, it wasn't the right feel. But Cassie came in there, had the attitude and everything, and nailed it. So she joined the band, and she was with us, I think, for about a year. And that's when that was through COVID. Yeah, that was 2020.
Yep.
And it was a weird time if you're a band playing during 2020 because no one could dance. Everyone's got masks on, so you can't tell if they like it or not. So you're just kind of, whatever, we're playing. We're having a good time, I think. But we had a great time with her.
Having a great time.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it was the reaction from the audience. You couldn't tell. Everyone's in masks. If you got up from your seat, someone would scream at you. So it was kind of weird.
It was horrible, dude.
Yeah. But as we came out of it, she was great for the band. But we kind of had like different varying viewpoints of where we wanted the band to go. She wanted to go one way, we wanted to go a little bit different way. Just wasn't heading the right direction for us, so we parted ways. And she's got that fantastic Stage 5 Klinger band, which does some great stuff.
Yeah, they're kicking ass.
Yeah, she's playing all the stuff that I'd love to play on stage.
It's a great show.
Oh, yeah.
The energy's off the hook.
Oh, yeah. I have no doubt. I've seen clips of it. I haven't seen them live yet. I plan on trying to. But, yeah, so she's doing very, very well. And that left us once again without a singer. So we start bringing...
And great ones at that, right?
Yeah, well, we've had two amazing ones. What are we going to do now? Like, are we going to get 3 times in a row? And then Kelly walked in the door.
It's unbelievable.
Kelly Rush, and she came up, and she had been doing some things, I think, with Panky Band and singing. I think she was singing backups. I think she sang some lead too in that band, and she'd been with a couple other projects. And we heard her sing, and we're like, "Holy shit! Like, this is it."
Yeah, she can sing, man.
Yeah, like she had it. Like, it was. How did we find lightning striking in the same spot 3 times in a row? We just did. We just did.
Well, but you had yourself, Don, and Blosser. Mm-hmm. At the time, right?
Yeah.
And that's a good energy level, great musicianship. And
yeah.
So attracting good singers, it was, very possible for you guys.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So we got very lucky. We got her in the band and it just took off. And I think about that time, I think is when I started saying, hey, I used to do some stuff on keyboards. I can add some stuff into the show. Went out and bought this probably too expensive Yamaha Mod X8, and because I can program it, I can create scenes on this thing, and I can, like, one scene is bass and this because I'm playing bass on the keyboard.
Yeah.
So I had to, like, be able to.
You can divvy that up into other tones, right? Other instrumentation type.
Yeah, they call them scenes. So basically,
Scenes,
I can get 8 channels of tones that I can blend, and I can turn them on and off in each scene, and I can split up octaves. So it's some songs I'm playing like bass in the bottom, my left hand I'm playing keyboards in the middle, and then if there's a horn part, I may reach up here and do horns, And then if it goes to a different tone, I hit the next scene and I jump into that scene.
That's cool.
But started doing that, but like the Journey songs, which are pretty straightforward. A couple scenes, pretty easy to do. And then we started branching out from that. And before I knew it, I went from playing bass full time in the band to playing keyboard about 40% of the band, But I like doing it. I mean, I wouldn't do it if it wasn't fun.
It adds so much, and with Kelly fronting that, it's great stuff. And then, you've got Dave and Dave, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And
Dave too.
Yeah, Dave Lynch. Dave Lynch came in after Don decided to retire.
So you started. I remember when he made this Facebook post that, hey, I'm moving to Florida. I was like, what?
Yeah. He wanted to stay in the band, and we're like, man, we want you to, but how are you gonna be in Florida and be in the band? I'll fly up on weekends. Like, Don, we love you, but that's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. He was like, I know. So that was kind of. It was something he needed to do for he and Gail, his wife, and they're loving it. They've got an awesome place down on the beach. He's living the life he wants to live, and
good.
Miss him, but the band wouldn't be what it was without him.
Right. No, I understand. Yeah, that was that relationship, that association, that start that sparked the DNA of what's still there, right?
100%.
And you guys have just taken it and furthered it.
Yeah. But then we had to find a guitarist.
Good. So how did that come about? So Don said he's going to go to Florida and he's not going to pursue the dream of coming back and playing.
Well, he wanted to, but we all knew it wasn't practical. But it's so we didn't know if we were going to be continuing on, because how do you find a guitar player to replace Don? Because he's amazing. It's just there's not that many that can shred and do it well, and just play well overall. Good time.
And all that material that you were, a part of learning, and Dave Blosser was a part of, knowing those parts, right?
Yeah.
And Kelly singing them.
Yeah.
So who can play this stuff?
Well, Kelly says, I know this guy. I play with him in this band, and I don't remember what band they were in, Nightfall or something like that. I don't remember. They did something together, and she says his name is Dave Lynch. I'm like, I trust you, Kelly. If you say he's good, bring him in. Let's listen to him, We got him in there. We knew the minute we were playing with him that this is like, we were locked.
He's your good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's your guy.
Yeah, and
he's so awesome, man.
Oh,
he's one of my favorite guys out there. He really is.
He's incredible.
And I spent time with Jeff Libator before he passed.
Yeah,
and he always praised Lynch as being his guy.
Yeah.
With Phoenix Rising, and so it was cool that they. You had a guy like Jeff who was a great player, and you had a lot. There's a lot of great players, but Dave Lynch really, I think, was definitely made for you guys.
Yeah, I'm a real believer that for a band to be successful, you all have to get along. I mean, you can be successful and not get along, but you're not going to last more than a year.
No,
you got to groove. You have to complement each other in the way you play, and you have to be able to read each other. And you have to just have the same mindset and goal in sight. And with this team that we have right now, which I hope is the last version of the band, because it's just hit its stride, just keep going. We're all in that place, like unified vision. We know where we want to be. We know what's working, what doesn't. And I say we, but a lot of that was brought in by Kelly. Like, we're the musicians. We're like the hired help. You're like,
Yeah.
I almost feel like kind of sometimes we're like the studio musicians, and she's like the band manager that can also sing amazingly well. That just happens
It's
to do
a
it
great machine, man.
business savvy,
It's a
you know?
great machine. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all the branding, all the marketing, it's all
That's all Kelly.
it's all great.
Yeah, she's really good at it.
Top shelf.
And she's so good at it. And I'll be honest, like, I don't like doing that stuff. Like, I'm socially awkward, so to me to go up
Perfect.
and start talking to people is just not going to happen.
But dude, you rock your freaking, butt off.
Well, that's where I'm comfortable.
And that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Kelly
So it works out for everyone.
Yeah, but Kelly goes out there. She talks to people. She develops these relationships, and people love her. We love her. People love her, and we work so well together.
Yep.
Everyone adds something different to the band, but it all works so well that we end up doing what we need to do, what we want to do. So, but our sounds changed. We started as a super heavy band, and we're still doing heavy stuff. Like, usually end of our shows, we'll do some System of a Down and Bodies or something like that.
Yeah, good.
I'd love to do more of it,
This is
but
good stuff. It's good rock and and people are grooving and dancing to that stuff, right? It's
sometimes. we've had mosh pits.
Well, but at least they're moving, right?
Well, there's a video I think Kelly posted. We played the Obit show this year, the Full Throttle Bike Night. A bunch of little kids, probably about 6 of them, to Bodies, just in a mosh pit, running around in circles, is the cutest thing. So we start them early. That's what we do.
Good.
But
teach them right.
We can still play the heavy stuff, but we decided, if you pigeonhole yourself in one style, you're kind of going to pigeonhole yourself in one venue type. That's not what we really wanted to do. Like, we love to play. We want to play to people. I enjoy it. I'm sure everyone else does. Seeing people enjoy the music we do, and not everyone
Wide
likes System of a
variety.
Down. So we got to add stuff to add stuff to it. But it's stuff that we all agree on. This is 100% democracy. Like, there's no veto vote here. We meet once a year. We just had our meeting, I think in September. And we sit down and we go, what do we want to learn this year? And we throw songs out there. We marinate on them. We play them a little bit, see if it's going to work. And then we come back together and say, which ones do we want to do? Vote, and highest vote wins. And I'll give you an example. And it wasn't really a vote, but I just kind of said maybe we should do it. Country. I'm not really super into country music. Nothing wrong with it. It's just not my thing. I like the outlaw stuff, like Johnny Cash. But just not modern day stuff. But that's not the people that come to see us. They like that stuff. And I started recognizing that I was being a little selfish there, because we're not doing what we do just for us. We're doing it for others too. And I knew that for us to basically connect with the audience, we had to meet them halfway. So I said to Kelly, you know what?
Pretty wise, man.
Well,
It
for
is.
me it is. Not wise, but for me that's a big leap, because I
change.
would never have done that in the past. But I said to Kelly, I think we should do a country song. And I think she almost had a heart attack. She's like, are you kidding? You really going to do a country song? I'm like, I think we should. That's our audience. So we added that Miranda Lambert song. And it's a lot of fun to play. It really is.
That's cool. Very cool.
There might be more coming to just maybe one song.
Uh-oh.
Know your audience.
Well,
Know
you
your
did have your
audience.
meeting recently, so it's probably fresh in your mind, what's
Yeah.
going on. But
A lot of
that'll
pop
be
coming
good,
into the
man.
mix,
It's
so.
good. Whatever you guys do, everybody loves it anyways,
But we like to surprise people. We got some surprises coming this year. We worked them out. They'll be.
How was last Friday? I missed it. Like, Beth had to travel, and she had an early departure on Sunday, and we just we didn't do a lot of things we wanted to do this weekend.
Oh, Turtle Creek.
Turtle
on
Creek was Saturday.
Yeah.
That was your latest show. I'm sure that was a good hopping time. And
Yeah, it was great. We had a blast. It wasn't a show that was originally on our schedule, but they had someone drop out, and we said,
that
"Hey,
one
we're
up.
free. We'll do it." So
Cool.
We jumped in there. We love playing Turtle Creek. It's
Oh,
a fun place to
gosh.
play. Always a good time.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
and you're playing that wide variety that you were just talking about, right? You're just adjusting to what your people are telling you.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
you have
we
a great fan base.
we
at this
do
point.
we do so much. We do everything. I mean, we play Rush, then we turn around and play like modern day pop. Lady Gaga. We have a Lady Gaga song in the set. Who does that? No one thought we would do it. I didn't think we would do it.
I've had a couple bands we've done Lady Gaga.
Have you? I didn't think I'd ever be in a band that played Lady Gaga, but it works.
I like playing what I call with female fronted pop rock with a bunch of guys.
Yeah.
It just like Joan Jett songs and some of that, some Cher tunes even. I mean,
Turn Back
Charles
Time.
Valentino can do a lot of things. Working with him for the last
He does
7
some
years
amazing
was
stuff.
a lot of fun. With a lot of, and he's showing off now in the Players Club. So
Yeah, he's doing a great
he's
job with
pulling
those guys.
all that stuff out.
Yeah, he's still doing the
On
thing with Matt, right?
steroids, which is great. What's that?
He's still doing the thing with Matt and Nikki.
Oh yeah, yeah. They'll always do that. I'm
I
sure.
remember what they call that.
It's called a Basic Approach.
Basic Approach, yeah.
Those are great shows, man. Get out if you can.
Yeah,
and catch those.
There's a lot
Between
of
your
shows.
work schedule though and your gig schedule, it's tough to get out. I'm sure.
Yeah, I just got some quality of life back, so I may be able to start seeing some more shows. But for a while, if I wasn't at work, I was gigging, and it's
Yeah.
no
No, I
in
know,
between.
man. It can be that way. My work is picking up big time right now.
yeah,
So I'll be pretty focused on that during the week and the weekend. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
yeah. There'll be weekends, but not as much as there have been in the past.
So, listening to the market, listening to the venue feedback, listening to people that come up, during your breaks, and
Yeah,
you just want to chill and drink a glass of water, and everyone's just mobbing your ass, aren't
not
they?
me. No, they're mobbing
They want
Kelly.
Kelly.
That's why I'm glad she's in the band. She takes the
Dude,
heat.
I run to her. I'm just like, oh my god, just when I thought you guys were killing it, you're killing it even harder.
I'm literally like, I don't know how I function sometimes socially because I don't know if people think I'm being an asshole. I'm not very, I can't go up to people and just start talking to them unless I know them. If I know them, it's a different story, but I get so nervous
Dang, you're Richard Dell, man.
but I can do this on a stage in front of hundreds of people without a problem. I just can't do it face to face. I don't know why. It's been my life. That's what it is, but but no, we a lot of good things coming. Kelly's got the was it the Women of Rock? I think they named it a little differently, but the
Central
Ohio
Ohio Women
yes.
Who Rock.
And they do some amazing stuff. And
They
we did
do.
that benefit.
Yep. Yeah, you guys killed it.
Oh, so much fun.
Radio City killed it.
Oh, yeah.
The whole night was just fabulous.
Lucky Penny sisters nailing it too. I mean, there's so much going on there. It was like the Grammys kind of, where you have all these amazing musicians playing, and
It was an absolutely amazing night.
Yeah.
Yeah. And acoustic in the beginning, and then the rocking out, and a night of giving to a very, very worthy cause.
yeah, I think last I heard it was something over 34,000, 35,000, somewhere in that
Amazing.
vicinity. So yeah, it's going to happen again next year. She's working on a venue. I'm not going to say anything else because I think she's still trying to finalize it.
Yeah.
Dates are still being
that's cool.
finalized, but they want to make it like a yearly thing.
Awesome.
So knowing the quality of what they do, I'm sure it'll be amazing.
No question about it.
And we'll be involved because we like being involved and we want to.
It's great to do it.
It is. But yeah.
No doubt. And Phoenix Rising has a very, very bright future. You guys are just killing it, and it's always a fun show, fun time, and very effective fundraising. Obviously, involvement with all of that.
Yeah.
And what she's doing, and again, your band is one that reaches out and helps support other people.
Yeah.
And it's great.
Yeah. Yeah, we love doing that. I mean, it's just the people that we are, that's the people I'm in a band with.
Right.
And that's what I want to be in a band with. I've been in the bands with the attitudes and everything's about them. And throwing fits and stuff like that. It's never been Phoenix Rising, and I don't want that to be my environment anymore. You know, we've got also an Atomic Elbow with Charlie Guapo.
What a great
Matt
band.
Bradley and Patrick. Yeah. So much fun. That one, I feel like
And who's
extremely
on
lucky.
drums?
Charlie Guapo, yeah.
Charlie Guapo's
Yeah.
on drums. And how'd you meet Charlie?
Yeah, that's a funny story. He and Matt had come to one of our Phoenix Rising shows a couple of years ago at the Granary. I think I'd seen him at a couple of shows, but I didn't really know them at the time, so I knew who they were, and I happened to meet Music Go Round over there in Bethel, you know. And I'm walking through the store, and I'm like, oh, that's Charlie, you know. And he's got a Mighty Mighty Boss Tone shirt on. I'm like, kick ass. I love ska.
Man. Oh, yeah.
That's my groove right there. So I'm already like, okay, I got to go talk to this guy. So I overcame my social anxiety and went and had a conversation with him. And we started talking and just realized we liked a lot of the same bands, a lot of the same music. And he was saying at the time, he's like, I'm trying to get this project together. I'm just missing a bass player. He had someone else that he was talking to, but that person couldn't because some family obligations, some other things. And I said, you know what? I'll do it. I got nothing else going on. My wife's like, are you serious? Like, you need another band like a hole in the head, you know? But, you know, she's like, I know you need to do it. Go ahead and do it. So he said, yeah, I'll give you a call. And then he's like, hey, it's me and Matt Bradley and Patrick from Hot Lucy. I'm like, awesome. Let's do it.
No doubt.
What are we doing?
Yeah, cool.
So we got together, and everyone loves Alice in Chains. So we became like, I don't want to say we kind of came close to tribute territory because we do like 8 songs from Alice in Chains, but we love it. We're not going to not do it. And Matt can play all this stuff without even thinking about it.
Right.
Nail it, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Patrick can sing it. Charlie can nail it on drums. So we do. Basically, it's. I'm not sure how Charlie. I know how Charlie said it. It's supposed to be more like a grungy '90s band, but we reach back into the Police. We pull out like Synchronicity 2, and then we go forward a bit and pull some other stuff out. You know, we pull Living Color out of the '80s, and I think the overriding factor is we're just doing what we want to play.
Adolescent times, right?
Yeah.
In your memory banks and in your tape decks.
Yeah. So much fun, though. Those guys are so
Yeah,
fun
man.
to play with. And they're such amazing musicians. And case in point, I think every one of the bands I'm playing is pretty much a Rush fan. Kelly likes them, but she's not as big a fan as everyone else. She sings it well. I'm like, you sing Geddy Lee. She's like, it's good, you know. But we'll be in the middle of practice or something with Atomic
Neil's
Elbow.
lyrics, though.
And all of a sudden we go into Bastille Day. Or then we go into, you know, we started playing Xanadu ones. I mean, it's just, okay, we're just doing this. And I haven't really learned them. So I'm just like learning them on the spot, just from what I remember. And hearing what Matt's playing and just playing by ear. So it's like, oh, okay, now we can kind of play this. Now if I go learn it, it's actually me good. You know, so we just do stuff like that.
Saw that band this summer.
Yeah.
Southwest Ohio. I think it was at Oak Grove Tavern, right?
Oh,
Is that
Atomic
right?
Elbow? Yeah.
Atomic Elbow, yeah.
I
And,
thought you were telling me you saw Rush. I'm like, where?
No. I saw you guys. Saw that at Atomic
Yeah.
Elbow. That was a fun show.
It was good.
It was fun to see you guys.
And I
See
have
you
to
and
mention
Matt.
too, we play Van Halen because
Well, you got
these guys love Van Halen.
you got the man.
Yeah. But we do
that
some
can handle
we
it.
do stuff that he loves. And now I've always liked Van Halen. I was never like a huge fan, but the stuff that we play made me a big fan. We're doing stuff off of like Van Halen too, you know. I mean, it's atomic punk and, you know, good stuff.
Oh, that's good.
So I mean, it's
And that's
just a fun
Bradley's.
bit.
That's Bradley's bread and butter too.
Oh, God,
from
yeah.
his time.
Oh,
in,
yeah.
in learning early. You know,
I remember his podcast. I listened to his
inspiration.
podcast. Yeah.
that's fun. That was a good night.
Yeah.
Definitely. He's such a talented guy, man.
He is. So that's a lot of fun. We have something brewing. I don't know if it's actually going to rear its head, but from my main band,
With what?
Phoenix Rising.
Oh, okay.
Dave, and me starting like a Rush cover project type of thing.
Cool.
So we're gonna see how that goes.
Who's singing?
We don't have a singer currently.
Really? Have
So
you
we're
talked to
just-
Kelly about it?
Talked to Kelly about it. I don't think she's super interested in it. She's got a lot going on, so I'm not sure she wants to do it. But we just like doing it because we like it.
So the band of Phoenix Rising is dabbling with Rush material. Is what you're telling me.
Well, we play that anyways. Like we play Tom
Yeah.
Sawyer and Spirit of Radio, but
you're expanding that repertoire into some of your favorites.
yeah, we're talking, and this is gonna be like, this is not in any way, shape, or form going to be like a full blown band experience that we do throughout the year, but maybe 2 or 3 shows a year, just open for someone playing like hour and a half of Rush or something like that.
Oh, that's cool.
We're going to go deep in the catalog, not deep enough where you won't know it, but maybe some 2112 on there.
Deep in the catalog, dude. Okay, so I think my first vinyl album was the Rush album, which was before Neil.
Yeah.
Peart, right? Before Neil days.
Mm-hmm.
It was what was that guy's name?
I'm not that big of a fan, so you're reading the wrong person. If you had David, he would know.
His last name starts with an R, and I think David and I talked about this.
I think you did too.
Maybe more than once, maybe more than 3 times. But very different record.
Well, it's like listening to Pink Floyd.
Before 2112 came out. And that thing just blew my mind at 13 years old.
Yeah.
2112 was a life changer musically for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I love early, dig deep Rush cuts.
Yeah, we're going to see what we can get away with.
I kind of stopped listening to them after Farewell to Kings. I was just talking to somebody about this recently. I mean, like the newer stuff, I didn't really, I wasn't, I think I was like raising a family and like really different priorities than just keeping up with my Rush albums,
They made so many.
They did.
That's the
but
thing.
I have like everything up through Farewell to Kings, and I wasn't a big Crest of Steel fan, but
the only song
2112 is where I was like, oh yeah, that's where it kicked in for a lot of us, didn't it?
I mean, Xanadu is probably my favorite Rush song, but
And that's on Farewell to Kings, I think.
It is. It is. Yeah.
Like side 2.
Mm-hmm. It's like all side 2. Yeah. We saw Primus. David went to. We saw him at Kemba Live. It was whatever they call Express Live before, and it was Primus doing their stuff for an hour and a half, and then they did Farewell to Kings.
Oh man.
They covered it from front to back, and Les Claypool had borrowed like a Moog and some other things from Getty. I mean, it was
So
insanely
cool.
good. It was
so
good.
cool.
It was like a once in a lifetime thing. So. Yeah. So that'll probably be happening whenever we get time, which I don't know when that's going to be.
Do you have a line on anyone who wants to sing for you guys?
Not yet. We just started talking about this and rolling out. We got a song list that we're, talking about.
Yeah.
I haven't started learning a lot. I know some of it. There's some of it I got to learn. I read music, so I'll just buy books.
That's a tall order, though, because Getty's busy with a lot of stuff.
His stuff is hard, and there's keyboards involved too. So I got to figure out if I'm going to be doing keyboard parts, if we're going to get a singer that could do the keyboard parts.
There's a lot of parts, Mister.
I do have an organ pedal
At least you
controller.
won't be singing, though.
Yeah, I won't be singing. Not that one. We need a singer. We'll figure it out.
You'll find somebody.
Yeah.
There's somebody in Columbus that can probably do it.
I'm sure there is. Hopefully they hear this and say something.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be.
Never know.
You never know. But yeah, it'll be awesome to see that. I'll come pay cash money per ticket to go see you guys play some of that. It'd be fun.
That'd be cool. It'd be
really fun.
It'll be a lot of fun.
And we'll fly Beth's daughter in, who's a big Rush fan from Chicago, and her husband, and we'll make it a whole weekend. It'll be
good.
great. We're just
We'll
gonna
let you
find
know
you a
then.
singer, though, right?
Yeah.
All right. It'll be fun. It'll be fun finding that.
Of course.
I think that too, Richard, Columbus, Ohio is fortunate to have you playing music here.
Just glad to be here, to be honest with you. I love the city.
It's a great city.
Yeah.
It really is. And it's not too busy, but there's a lot going on. Mm-hmm. And if you're into music, there's a lot going on.
The music scene out here is pretty exceptional. And I lived in Seattle for like 5 years when I was in the military, just outside, like near Tacoma, but we'd go into Seattle. I played in a small band there. It wasn't anything major. But like that's a music city, like unbelievably good. LA, of course. But Columbus, I put it up there with them because there's so many amazing musicians here, and everyone's playing, and the clubs allow them to play.
Right.
You don't have to. I mean, they're selective, but there's a lot of clubs you can play at. You know what I mean? And it's just the people out here are just so cool.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was in the military, I was trying to figure out where I was going to, because I'm not from here. I'm from California. I grew up in California, Los Angeles area. But I was getting ready to retire, getting towards the end of my career, and I kept talking to people in the military that I really trusted. I really got along well with them. Like, where are you from? Because that's where I want to live. I don't want to go back to California. I grew up there. It's busy, traffic, all that kind of crap.
Yeah.
I was done with that. Earthquakes. I want none of that. So, by far and large, like the entire group of people, and I asked a lot of people, the majority, like 80%, were like, oh, I'm from Ohio. I'm like, what is it about Ohio that puts out? And I'm not just saying this to kiss butt. Like, I really, I found that pretty incredible.
It's
that
pretty funny. Well, and then Buckeye Nation really, truly is global.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
For sure. Yeah, so that's
part of that Ohio thing.
And it's hard. I was active duty Air Force. There's not an active duty
though?
base here. Well, there is. There's Wright-Patterson, but there's not a lot of positions for my career field, which is aircraft maintenance. So to get a position here, I'd either have to get one of 10 positions working for one of 10, or work with the reserve unit, which ended up being a special duty assignment I got as an active duty. So I was able to go Wright-Pat, and then I retired out of Wright-Pat, and then stayed in Dayton, and then met my wife, Angie. She lived in Marysville. So I said, oh, yeah, I can move in with you.
That's cool.
And I'm like, hey, this city's cool. I mean, Dayton was cool too, but Columbus is just amazing.
Columbus is cool stuff.
So I stayed. I love it.
And you've been here how long then?
December 2012.
2012.
Yeah, 12 years.
So you're new transplant. New. So talk to us a little bit about your time in California and when you got bit by the music bug and you started doing music.
Yeah, I'm born and raised in California. Born not Northern California, but Middle California, San Luis Obispo. My dad grew up in the Valley, transplanted. He was 10 when they moved from the East Coast. They were somewhere in New York or New Jersey.
It's pretty wild.
But he pretty much grew up in the Valley outside LA when it was when there were cows out there and stuff like that, which is not the situation now.
When it was the Valley.
Yeah, San Fernando Valley was the Valley. If you watch Chips, that's what it was like.
That was the Valley.
Yeah. I watch that just because it makes me homesick, but that's another stupid thing to say. But my wife thinks I'm silly. She's like, why do you watch that show? I'm like, it reminds me of home because they filmed it around where I grew up. But no, they...
Did you ride?
I do now. My wife got me into riding, believe it or not.
Wow.
I don't do a lot of it. It's very rare. I don't really ride anymore, but I do have a license, and I didn't do it in California because you're crazy if you do that. In Los Angeles, you're crazy. You get, people split lanes. They do stupid stuff.
Oh, man.
A lot of people get killed riding motorcycles over there. But I came here, and it's like, hey, there's all these back roads. You can ride for miles and miles. It's great. But no, so I grew up there for the most part. There was a small diversion. My family moved up to Seattle, legitimately Seattle, from 78 to 80 when I was 3 to 5. And my dad worked for Mobile, transplanted there. Mount St. Helens blew up. He did some work there, and then he quit Mobile and came back to the Valley. But to where I ended up growing up in the house in Santa Clarita, which is just north of Los Angeles. 12 miles from the Valley, maybe 20 miles from downtown LA.
Gorgeous, though, right?
Yeah,
really pretty.
At the time, it was the edge of the suburbs, right? So you had space. It wasn't all enclosed in on you. And then over time, it just kind of, movie industry, people living in the valley and like Calabasas started shifting out to those counties and started populating them. So now I go home and it's people and houses. There's nothing left there anymore. It's all people and houses. But I have family there still lives there. But we came back and I grew up there. Went through elementary school through high school, and somewhere around my 5th grade year, in our elementary school, we have like one music. This is in the 80s, so it's like 85. They have one school, a music teacher for 5 schools in the 80s. They do that now.
Amazing.
They were doing that in California 80s because they didn't have any money. And she came in, she said, hey, here's these instruments. We need people in the band. She started playing all these different things, and we're like, oh, that's cool. So she's like, write down what you want to do. I said, okay, I want to be drummer. Of course, because drums are fun, right? Second choice, trombone. I don't know why I chose trombone. Third choice, trumpet. And she comes back and goes, here, you could be a trumpet player. I'm like, oh, I want to play drums.
Did she hand you a trumpet?
Yeah, she's like, show up here. And she's like, here's trumpet. She opens the book. She goes, that is an F. It's the first valve. This is how you read this. I'm like, okay. And then she would circle between us and teach us how to play the instrument from a book.
Pretty cool.
And then we'd go home and I would just learn from the book. And I start playing that way. At the same time, I'd been playing piano, like not really playing it, but ding, 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 pounding on it as a kid. But I found my grandmother had a book about how to play piano from the 50s. John something method, I don't remember what it's called. But it's very basic. It's like, this is middle C, and this is how you do the fingers, and these are the chords. And I learned how to read music and play music from that book. So I started, between that and the trumpet, I started teaching myself how to play, and played in the bands in elementary school, went to junior high, kept playing trumpet. And then about my 8th grade year, we had a student teacher come in to our band, and he was from California, CSUN, California State University, Northridge graduate, and he wanted to be a music teacher. He's going to be a music teacher at the high school the next year. So he's doing student teaching at junior high. And I didn't really listen to jazz at the time. I was listening to stuff my parents were listening to, like Boston. My dad listened to Boston and
classic rock,
Sticks
stuff,
and
iconic
stuff.
rock stuff.
We're talking 80, like 7, right? And my mom listened to like, Crimson and Clover. I had all this stuff. And he's like, hey, we're going to start a jazz band. I'm like, I kind of know what jazz is, but what is it? He's like, well, here, you've ever heard of Glenn Miller? Yeah. So we started with the standards, right? And so he taught us how to play in a jazz band. So we were playing like In the Mood and all this other stuff. And kind of enjoyed it. So I got to high school. He's like, hey, get me in the jazz band. So I jumped in the jazz band. And then one day he said, okay, I think I was playing third chair or something. He handed me a sheet of music. He's like, you know what that note is? And I said, well, that's a high C. 2 staves above the... And I'm like, that's way too high. He's like, you can do it. Just take a big breath and blow hard. And so I'm like, I don't know. It's like, do it. So he had me do it in front of everybody. And I played it. And he's like, now play it stronger. Like, he kept working me on it. And then he's like, okay, you're a new lead player.
First trumpet?
Yeah.
Just like that.
Yeah. Pissed off everyone because I was a freshman.
Oh, geez.
And I'm like, I don't think I can do this. He's like, I'll come work with you over the summer. So he came over to the house. He brought some really cool stuff with him, and just kind of taught me how to be a lead player.
Nice.
He played trumpet himself, but he was more of a soloist.
Nice.
Played like second chair solo stuff. And I found out that I could play lead, and I could lead the band. I could play the high notes, and that was my thing. I wasn't so much a soloist, and didn't solo all that well. I could hold it a little bit, but it wasn't me. I was the lead player in the band. So that kind of blossomed from there, and that. Of course, to be in the jazz band, you had to be in the marching band. So I did field show stuff. I was first trumpet in that. Concert band, which is my least favorite band at the time. Nothing wrong with it. I mean, there's some incredible classical music out there, but it's not my thing. I was second chair in that one because the first chair had a darker tone.
Not as passionate.
She was super technical. Yeah, I was all about breaking the rules. She's about following them. So, and it just kind of it made me realize that's what I wanted to do in my life. So at that time, when I'm looking at college, I'm looking at being a music major. My parents probably should have been pissed off, but they weren't. They were just like, if that's what you want to do.
You support it. Follow your dream, baby.
Yeah.
Follow your dream.
So my dad helped me.
know.
Tuition wasn't that bad at the time. It was a state school too, so it wasn't terrible. So my dad helped me a bit with tuition. I worked part-time. And then I went to Cal State Northridge and jumped in that jazz band as a lead player and played with them. But the thing is, like, Cal State Northridge is kind of like this incubator for jazz. USC has a program that's very similar, but they have a lot of ringers in there. They like bring people from the industry, session players, to play in their bands. Cal State Northridge doesn't do that. They bring kids that want to do it, that are coming out of high school, and develops them into those people.
Right.
So it seemed like a good place to go, and it was amazing. I got to play with some pretty incredible people. I never really took lessons in my life until I went there, because they made me. When you're a music major, they make you take lessons. Then you have to do what they call juries at the end of the semester and play for all the deans, and they got to give you a passing grade. It's really nerve-wracking. If Blosser didn't talk about that.
How'd that go for you? He did talk about that.
Yeah,
I remember him
crazy.
talking about that. And
Well, the first time they didn't have a jazz degree yet. So I was playing in the jazz band, but they were still developing the degree. So I had to play classical. But I had this really great instructor. His name is Bill Bing, and super technical, triple tonguing, double tonguing. Like, he knew that I was not happy with what I was doing. And he's like, what do you want to do? You know, so we talked about it. He knows I like the off time signature stuff and stuff that's really like neoclassical, that's different and edgy. So he pulled up some stuff that I would never have picked, never have found. And this, what my jury piece was like in 13 different time signatures, and they were mixed and matched. And I played it well, but I didn't really prepare my piano player accompanier for it, because when she got in, and we practiced, but she was super worried she was going to screw it up, and she kind of did. But that was my fault, not hers, because I didn't give her enough time to learn it. I did pass the jury, though. I got to think a B+ on that one.
good for you.
Yeah. And then the next year,
nerve-wracking, man.
it is, because you're playing in front of chairs in the
Yeah.
department, you know, and you have to pass it. If you don't,
Then
you can get pulled out of the
in.
program. Yeah. Those degree programs are no joke. I mean, it's, at the time I'm stressed out, but it was fun.
At the end of the day, it's a service to everybody involved, right? Like, you either know you're good enough because you're doing it, or you know that you probably, keep working harder and try again later, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or decide a different way to go, and
True.
that's the intensity that I think just refines whether you make it or not. And it's really that way with anything
Yeah.
that's worth doing in music at that level, right?
It is.
Having that stringent standard, but it makes you the player that you are today, right?
I think so. I mean, I have to give a lot of credit to my high school band director. He's still doing it too. Like, for college, he's getting ready to retire. Out of the blue, he called me in April. He hit me up on LinkedIn. It's like, hey, I haven't talked to you in 20 years. Let's have a conversation. And he's still doing well. But he was in the industry, so he was charting songs for Maynard Ferguson and a lot of major jazz artists at the time. So I got exposed to these guys, got to meet some of them. I took trumpet lessons from Bobby Shue. I don't know if you ever heard of him, but he was a major trumpet player in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And it was just a great upbringing. I knew how lucky I was to get it and how I was able to learn from all these people. But a lot of the individuals some of them were from my high school. A couple of them, we went to the same high school. But my college, amazing musicians. They're all in gigging major bands right now in some way, shape, or form. Our lead alto player, her name is Sheila Gonzalez. She's playing with Dweezil Zappa right now. She's played with Colin Hay for years, Men at Work.
Yeah.
And his solo stuff in Men at Work as well. I saw her play with Men at Work 4 or 5 years ago down in Nashville. I happened to be there for work, so I got to stop by and see her play.
So cool.
She's amazing. And when you do, Dweezil Zappa's doing his dad's stuff, doing Frank Zappa stuff, which is so far out there, complicated, hard, she just nails it every time.
Man.
I have a couple of friends, Glenmar Hefka and this guy, Carl. that I played with in college that are both in Big Bad Voodoo Daddy. They tour all over the place. They were big for a while in the 90s, but they're just amazing jazz musicians, and they just nail it every time.
Amazing.
I could drop names all day long. I don't want to do that. I did go to school. This is one that kind of, I think is kind of interesting, but you ever watch Kimmel?
Watch what?
Jimmy Kimmel Show?
Oh, sure.
There's a piano player named Jeff Babko on there. He was in my school when I was a freshman. He was a senior.
Too cool.
He played trombone. He was so talented. Like, he was amazing. He was already playing keyboard then too. And he's been a session musician in LA for years. He's toured with everybody. Julio Iglesias, all these guys. The dude is incredible. And I got to like be with these people and play with these individuals. So I learned from them.
Wow.
Right. So I got lucky. Just, I think because of where I was born and where I got to grow up, I think I got like the concentration of it. You know what I mean?
You had somebody that knew, that saw it in you, that helped your high school teacher, right? Mm-hmm. That really, is that one person that you remember that's like, yeah, that was the moment for me.
Yeah,
but, man, so amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
to do that.
It's so cool, and that's, I mean, part of me sometimes wants to go back to California just to like hang and play with my friends and stuff, but I can't do it. Los Angeles is just I can't do it anymore.
The environment's not right.
No.
And Columbus, Ohio's got a long way to go before it looks remotely like what's going on in LA.
Yeah, you don't want to be like LA if you can help it.
Wow.
I mean, it's cool. There's cool parts of LA. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to bash it.
Like San Francisco, the same thing, man. You can't even. You have to get up at 4:30 in the morning to drive across the bridge.
Yeah.
For a 2-hour commute.
That's insane.
If you're lucky, it's nuts. And there's a lot of bridges, a lot of yada 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 yada. But like after that time, trying to get around in that area, Cali's crowded. Well,
I thought I knew, and I've been back and forth for business on top of seeing my family, but I took my wife, Angie, she's from here. She's from Springfield. And I took her to California for the first time ever. Her being there was in 2015. And I'm like, just so you know, I'll drive, because if you don't understand California traffic patterns, you're not going to get it. You're going to be freaking out. She's like, oh, I have no desire to drive in California. And so I said, do you want to be on the rental car? No. Okay, fine. So as I'm driving down the 405, doing my normal crazy shit, because that's where I learned how to drive, she's freaking out because you have to cut people off. Like, that's the only way you can get into lanes, because they don't leave you any space.
Right.
And if you're not going to get over, if you're waiting for someone to let you in.
Are you kind of rubbing bumpers too while you're doing it?
Trying not to.
A little tiny bit, but sometimes it happens, right? Yeah.
But yeah, there's a way to do it, and to this day, she still won't drive there.
Oh gosh.
I said, what if I have some medical problem and you have to drive me? She's like, you'll get me to drive that one time and that's it. I'm like, okay.
That one time and that's it.
But my last job when I worked at Amazon in Aetna, I was driving from Marysville to Aetna every day. And 270 sucks, but it's not nearly as bad as 405 to 5 or 10 or the 170.
The
and
one.
One's not terrible. It's too late.
It's
well,
too late
I think it's 4 now, but some parts.
Well, in some areas, maybe.
Yeah. At least you get to see the ocean. You don't see the ocean on the 405.
It's so beautiful.
Santa Monica, you might see a little bit of it.
Little tiny bit.
Yeah.
I spent a little bit of time out in Cali, but not like you. And you had all that. You had all that that education with all that top brass of jazz and studies and.
Yeah, so it was a good time. I ended up dropping out of the music program, just dropping out of college.
I was going to ask you how that went for you.
That was me getting married to my first wife.
Okay.
And
how many years were you schooling?
I had been 2.5, almost 3 years as a music major. I was just over halfway point.
And then you married.
Then I got married very young. I was 19.
Yeah.
And she had a kid. And then we immediately had a kid. Like, she was pregnant. And I'm like, well, I can't keep going to school. Part-time job's not going to pay the bills. So I dropped out, got a full-time job, got 2 other full-time jobs. I was working 3 full-time jobs basically. Well,
For your
full-time,
for your family, right?
full-time and a part-time. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I realized I didn't have like a trade degree or anything like that, and I didn't know a trade except for music. And I was getting shows when I was playing, but I can't do that when I have a baby, you know. And my ex-wife, she was quite sick all the time, so I ended up having to take care of the family a lot. So it was something that happened.
Prioritizing life, as we all end up doing.
Yeah.
It's kind of a common thread. Everyone that's involved in music in some way, there's priorities that shift around over time.
Yeah, for sure.
So you had to shelve it for a little while, it seems.
I did. Was struggling a bit, and I figured I didn't want to do that the rest of my life, so I joined the Air Force. My grandfather retired, so I knew what the life was like.
Yeah.
And I wanted something I could learn to do and do, like a trade, right?
Yeah.
And I liked working in electrical systems, and I found an aircraft electrical environmental systems job. So I was fixing aircraft, and I loved it. And I loved the Air Force. It was a lot of fun. And I came in like 97. So I came in pre-2001. And it was a little bit different. Like, relatively speaking, it wasn't like a war footing all the time. We were doing like Southern Watch, stuff like that. But it was, you know, post-91, kind of Bosnia was going on. But it wasn't like what we've been doing the last like 20 years. So when that happened, that changed. And we became more of a force deployed a lot more, support a lot more operations.
Yeah.
I went to Afghanistan for a little bit, went to Kuwait, spent a year in Korea. I mean, I got to see places maybe you don't always want to see, but you get to see them. Like,
Yeah, and you're working on aircraft while you're out there?
Yeah.
Doing your job,
yeah.
right?
Yep, in a war zone.
In a war zone.
Sometimes. Yeah, not all the time, but I did deploy to war zones and work in war zones.
Did you see any combat?
I wasn't outside the wire, but they did rocket the base, so we had to take cover. We carry M16s, and we had different rounds. It was in the shit, but it wasn't like I have a lot of Army friends, Marines, that were outside the wire all the time. I didn't have that experience because they needed us fixing planes on the base. So I'm on a base; it's got walls, but they did try to overrun the base several times when I was out there, and it's just what it is. I mean, I enjoyed it. Don't ask me why. It's just. There's a goal, there's a mission. We're doing great things. We had fun. So we did what we needed to do. And there's a part to the Air Force into the military that people don't see. They get so focused on the war fighting, they forget there's humanitarian efforts that happen outside of that. So even in the aviation side, when I worked on C-17s, we did airlifts. We medevaced people out. I mean, there's a lot of things you see that I try to shine a light on, like, this is what the military does as well.
Right.
It's not all about just bang, bang. It's about helping people in general. Operations. Yeah, so I enjoyed that part of it as well, and trying to be a part of something big. So I did that for...
You were.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. My first duty assignment was Tucson, Arizona. Spent 5 years in a very hot place. I'm not a desert fan, but...
Were you performing any music at all during your service?
So from like 97 to 99, I really didn't play. It wasn't part of my job for sure. But then when I got to Arizona, decided to finish up my music degree, enrolled at University of Arizona, and joined the music department. So I played there for about a year, but I was in the Air Force. So I was like working swing shift, going to classes all day. It was hard to maintain.
Not a lot of sleep.
Yeah. And then I realized that, like, what am I going to do in the music degree if I'm not in a place where I can utilize it? Well, am I going? I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm like, I said to myself, what am I going to do? I'm doing maintenance. I might as well do something with career field I have. So I changed my major. But I did meet some people when I was in that department. I was still jazz major, was still doing jazz at the time. And we had a combo that we called Umbra that we played out. We played in clubs around town.
That's cool.
But we did some weird shit, man. I mean, you ever heard of John Zorn?
I think I have heard of John Zorn.
He's a pretty avant-garde jazz guy, and he does some really off-the-wall stuff. He had a band, not to be confused with Nicky's band, but called Radio City. Mm-hmm. And it's all experimental jazz, like thrash, Mike Patton from Faith No More used to sing sometimes with him. But he does this stuff where it's like these scenes of music. And he directs it, but it's like, it's death metal, then it's like jazz, like that. And you're like, it's like inside someone's crazy mind, you know? But it's fun. So we listen to that. We listen to Masada, which is kind of his band too, but it's an Israeli, like Middle Eastern, like harmonic minor scale type of music. And we would take these, we play some of the covers and we write our own stuff. It was in the same vein, so we had some crazy stuff. I do have a couple of songs I wrote around that time that are posted on my Reverb Nation, I think, still. But that was a lot of fun.
Sweet.
We took that combo outside of school and just kept doing it. And then I eventually PCS'd, moved out to my next duty station, which was in South Dakota. So I lived in Rapid City, South Dakota for 5 years. Well, 4. And there I decided, okay, I started playing bass like full-time in like 2000-ish when I was still in Arizona. And I said, I really want to join a band as a bass player.
Oh, man.
So as being in the military, I found that if you're in the military, the best bands are with other military members because they understand that you have to just leave sometimes. I had some experiences with non-military people, and they were just like, what do you mean you got to go to work? I'm like,
I got to go to work.
I'll get arrested if I don't go to work. I don't know what your problem is, you know, come on.
The MPs are coming with bands on their arms and everything.
Yeah. So, but we had, that band was called Short Notice, and it was short notice because they were going to play a talent show. And like, hey, we need a bass player. You got 2 weeks to learn the music. And I'm like, okay, sure, I'll do it. So 7 songs. It wasn't super hard. We did like Pat Benatar. I think we did All Fired Up, and I think a couple, maybe we did Separate Ways. I don't remember what we did, but
Not a heavy lift.
yeah. And so it's South Dakota too. You got to pick your audiences. Know your audiences. So Rapid City is like the second biggest city in South Dakota. Had like 250,000 people at the time. So
Damn.
It's not big. It's 20 miles to Rushmore. It was like down the road.
Where are you playing out there? Like in a field or like a square in a town? Or
No, the town had
some venues.
We had some venues. Right. I'm gonna be nice about it. Like there was the Hollywood Inn.
Yeah.
That would have live bands because usually the out of towners like to hear it. There was a bowling alley that had a lounge from the 70s, I think.
That's cool.
That you could usually pack. And there was a place, they did open I'd never seen it since, and I think it only existed for like 10 years, but they opened like a hardcore club, downtown. So that band didn't play, but my second band did stuff like Tool and stuff like that. We played there. And that was a lot of fun too. And that was more of like an original thing too. So I had a couple bands going on there. And in both bands were all military. So what that would eventually happen is someone deploys, someone leaves. And then you're like, well, it's time for me to leave now too. And then the band breaks up. So we broke up, we moved up. And I went to Korea for a year on a remote tour. Yeah, and that was a lot of fun because once again started a band with the guys there, but we were doing like Metallica, we were doing Rage Against the Machine, we were doing all the heavy stuff.
You're just rocking out. And
everyone in our hooch for our squadron all loved it. Oh. So we would play to packed rooms all the time, and it was a blast. And that was Strangers with Candy was the name of that band.
Strangers with Candy, I love it.
With a Z.
Good
Strangers.
For you. Yeah.
We won like a battle of the bands on the bass. We got to open for USO groups and stuff like that. It was a lot of fun.
Man, that's cool.
That was a blast. And then after that, I PCS'd out to Seattle again. Spent about 5 years there, and then my music career kind of dwindled. Played that one band, and they were just kind of like, the guy got mad because I had to go into work one day when it was a practice. I'm like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah, life's too short, man.
Yeah.
Prioritization and respect for others, and it's not a perfect world, and the schedules sometimes get messy, and that's life. You just got to learn to cope.
And I was deploying a lot too, so I wasn't keeping something going was going to be hard. And I did play with another band for maybe a year, and we did softer rock type stuff, and it wasn't vibing. I was hoping to get something different there, but just didn't have the time. And then I ended up here. And the rest is
Ohio.
Yeah.
Columbus, Ohio.
Well, Dayton first. Yeah.
Eventually you came here. Marysville.
Yeah, Marysville.
Right?
I've been in Marysville for 10 years at least. Yeah.
Are you in Marysville now?
Yeah.
Man, Marysville has a lot of great music people.
It does. We got Leon's there too, which is a great club.
Why is there a little concentration of music people in Marysville? Do you know?
I don't know.
Is it Honda?
I don't know. Well, no. I mean, you look at Clubber Lang. I think all those guys grew up there.
They're all there, man.
They grew up there though. They didn't like them because of Honda.
Well, no, you're right. You're right. I think Rob is a Honda guy, though.
He is. Yeah. He's been there for 25 years, I think.
John was born in Bellefontaine, Ohio.
Down the road.
But he's lived his adult life with his wife in Marysville area.
Yeah, I think
but
it's
they're all
quiet.
there now. And you're right. Yeah. Like Leon's is awesome.
Yeah.
So fortunate.
Benny's, Leon's, yeah. A lot of fun places out there. Now you got the Ridge. The golf course.
That's a fun gig.
I
have played that gig with a rock cover band that I was in days gone by.
It's
a fun gig.
Yeah, we enjoy that one. We just did that one for the first time this year.
As long as they can square dance or line dance. I'm sorry. As long as you got that down.
Yeah, it is kind of funny though because you're on this
song.
patio, right?
I know.
And like, there's tables in that patio, but everyone's in chairs outside of it, and it's dark, so all you see is like a black void with a couple people in front of you. You're like, what is going on? And then all of a sudden, from the side come these people dancing like, oh, you are here.
They're all there.
It's so strange. But it's a fun gig. I mean,
they love it. They love to do that.
Oh, yeah.
The regulars that frequent the shows, the live music.
Yeah.
Fun time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I enjoy the hell out of it for sure.
Yeah. The bass lines.
Yeah.
Keeping them in line.
But someone's got to do it.
Well, mister, you do it well. And, gosh, what a story, man. That's just amazing. You've been through all that boot camp, real live.
Yeah. Good times, though. I mean, it was fun. I mean, that was probably, outside of music, some of my favorite things to do. So, you meet people and you depend on them for your survival, and that it's a big deal. It becomes something that you form bonds with. I still have friends I've known for years and years and years in the military. So I did lose a friend. He got killed in Afghanistan right before I was going over, which is kind of crazy, but that stuff happens too. You just have to understand the risks. It's not a cakewalk, but it's a lot of fun, and I've made a lot of friends. And
it's real. It's you're right on the edge of life and death. Yeah, and idealism, in the wings, typically, right?
It really puts things in perspective of what's important and what's not. And I'm thankful that we live in a country where, regardless of what you believe politically, that we can have those beliefs and we can say it. And at this point, we still can, at least, right? It's contentious, but you can say it. Like, no one's filtering you on the news. You're able to say what you need to say. A lot of countries don't have that. Kuwait's completely shut down. Korea's got some of it. There's still some nationalism there, but for the most part, they're a democratic. South Korea, I should say, is a democratic country. So
yeah,
but there's other places. Afghanistan has always been a mess, and we don't have much when we dabble in it, but we were there for a reason. And we did what we could do to help the people and try to do what we can for our country. So
right.
You see all these things and you realize we have it really good here. As bad as it can be, as bad as we think it can be, it's a lot worse other places. So I'm glad to live in this country, and I'm glad to be in Columbus. It's a fun place to be.
Columbus is a good place to live. It is. There's no doubt about it.
A lot of growth there.
I like it here. I've been here a long time.
Yeah. Just in Marysville, I'm watching Marysville explode.
Oh my gosh.
I've never seen it. 10 years it's gone. It's doubled.
That main road. I don't know.
What you talking? Fifth Street?
Is it 5th Street?
Yeah, with Leon's on it.
Just
exploded.
Used to be a 2-lane little carriage.
Even where the road. Walmart is.
Now there's mall city, like mall after mall after mall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
to the freeway.
Crazy.
For sure. Yeah. Hey, Richard Dell is just a treat to watch perform, and the two main projects you're working on right now that are out there, Phoenix Rising, definitely the more mature product out there, if you will.
Yeah.
The last couple of years, and still going strong, and good continued. Best of luck with you on that for sure. And
Thank you.
I'd like to see you find a Geddy Lee type vocal presence for your Rush project. That'd be fun.
Yeah, I think we'll find someone.
Be fun
It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, you definitely will.
Yeah.
No question about it.
Yeah.
And then Atomic Elbow as well.
We're at a little bit of a hiatus right now, but we're coming back. It's just going to probably be spring of next year.
Yeah. That's all good.
A couple things going on, so
Yeah.
you got to take care of business and come back strong.
Yeah. I mean, I've been there personally, and I feel like I'm coming around. I know everybody involved there too will come around.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And be able to, make the adjustments and do what you have to do to do what you want.
Yeah, yeah. But it's fun. I mean, like I said, I'm thankful that I get to play in bands of people that care, and I get to go see other bands and go be in the music industry in this city, and people are just so cool. There's very few attitudes there, which is not. I can't say the same for LA, but there's very few attitudes here.
Yeah, for sure.
People just realize it's
Great
about
people.
making music.
At the end of the day, that's what it is, and just making things the best for yourself, the best for your bandmates, and serving the project that you're in.
Yeah. At some point, I may try to. I just don't have time for it now, but I've always thought about doing something, non-cover band, something original. It's just time.
I was going to ask you how many recordings you have out there, and where do we see those, Richard Dell?
I'm not super excited about the recordings I've done in the past. I'm not a lyricist, so I don't write lyrics. Most of my stuff is usually musical.
Yeah.
Just music numbers, but I do have a Reverb Nation. I don't remember. You have to look my name up on Reverb Nation. I couldn't give you the address off the top of my head. There's a couple jazz covers or jazz things I wrote that are performed. One of them, I think my jazz band performed back in 2000.
Nice.
And the other one, I sat in my room and did all the parts.
Did it yourself?
Yeah, I recorded it myself.
What do you do for drums? Do you use a drum rhythm machine thing?
So on the recordings, I used this not so expensive Yamaha keyboard that I used to have. I just, with the keys. So if it sounds like it's janky, it's because I'm doing it by hand. I'm not great at it. But it was there on some songs I could use a pre-made patch, but I thought that was cheesy. So I didn't want to do anything like that, pre-made rhythm patch. So I tried to do it by hand. Now I've got an Alesis pretty nice drum set, the electric drum set that I can track when I start tracking.
And get sticks and hit them.
Mm-hmm. It's got the real feel too, so it actually feels like you're hitting a snare. And the bass drum too. It's ooh, this actually kind of feels like it.
Fancy.
It's not the same, but
you ever do the little tap pad thing?
Yeah, I had one of those. Yeah, but for the most part, I try to play the instruments myself and record them. It's just what I do. But what I write outside of what I play is completely different. I don't know why. I don't necessarily like what I write sometimes, but I put it out there.
Lay it down, and yeah, I've got a bunch out there myself and Reverb, and I got a couple tunes out on the streamers. It's good to point somebody to something that you did.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's on Spotify. It's there.
Yeah, it's there if you want to hear it and be disturbed.
So long ago though, and I don't. It's pretty low key.
Yeah,
but
me
it's
too.
fun.
I mean,
that's cool.
My stuff is all from 2011.
And it's
2012.
fun to actually create a song. Mm-hmm. I don't write lyrics either, but I do melodic stuff and guitar based. And it's fun to do that,
Funny thing is, I'll write on bass, and then I'll write on piano. So, guitar's last. I'll put guitar down. It's usually just strumming. I'm not a guitar player. I can play rhythm, but that's it. I don't even play the pick. I played my hand, which makes no sense. But so I'm not a guitar player. If I put there, it's strictly just to add another color because I can't play well. I've got a couple Taylors I love, but that's about it. But I play drums myself, play the bass myself, play the keyboard stuff myself. Some point I'll bring like a kick-ass guitarist like yourself in there.
What do you mean? What kind of guitar? What kind of bass guitar do you have? How many do you have?
Oh, you ask my wife or you're asking me? Cause
I'm asking you.
There's two different answers.
Yeah,
I think I physically have 11.
You see? 11 of them?
Yeah,
okay.
but there's 9 that I'm selling a couple.
Are you?
Yeah.
What kind are you selling?
Dude,
I have a newfound love of bass. I have enough guitars though. I mean, Beth has one, and she made me buy my own because she didn't like me playing hers. Can you believe that shit?
But you got Fender Jazz, don't you? Or is it a P bass?
It's a P bass. It's an Aerodyne though.
Nice.
And she bought. So I mean, I'm taking credit because I picked it out. It's a gorgeous white Aerodyne.
Yeah.
And I love it, and I bonded with that thing. And I played a gig. I played my first bass gig with the whole gig with that guitar. It was awesome. She's like, dude, you gotta buy your own freaking guitar. I was like, oh my god, I understand that. I get it. So I did, but I didn't want to buy another white one.
Yeah.
But I love Aerodynes. So anyway, I got a hot rod burst.
Nice.
Completely different from the white one, but you can see it before when we're done here. Check it out.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
cool. But then Brian Kerr came over. We hung out and we were talking bass. We played some music too together a little bit, and he brought over a 1954 P bass style reissue.
Nice.
That
the pick guard on it, everything.
he removed the pick guard, or it came with the pick guard removed. But it, you can tell that it had one because the holes are still in the body. But it's a Sting model P bass, and it just, I don't know what kind of electronics are in it. It's just a beefcake. Like it's just it's beefy and it's a rocker.
Yeah.
But I find myself playing some Sting bass lines on this thing, and it's like, oh yeah. like the pickup has that thing that he.
Is it an active bass? Because usually Fender makes primarily passive basses.
It's passive.
Yeah.
But it's a pretty hot pick. It's not a typical pickup for whatever reason. I don't know I don't even know what's in it. But anyway, he's like, oh, I'm just gonna leave it here for you to trick around with and see what you think.
I have one Fender.
He's a tease. He wants me to buy it from him, I'm sure.
You should. I mean, Fender makes good shit. Like, I have a Fender Jazz, and I like it, but I like active basses. I like getting the sounds I can get. So
Are you playing Ibanez?
Ibanez and Schecter, yeah.
Nice.
Primarily. I do have...
I'm drawn to that Ibanez, like SR 300 line.
Mm-hmm. I have a couple special editions. I have like an SR 2000. It's a
higher end guitar though than the SR 300.
Ibanez you got to be careful on.
Okay.
If you go the lower cost money ones, for some reason
you're gonna replace it.
Frets pull. It's not fun. I found with Ibanez, I love Ibanez. I've always been an Ibanez fan, but I found that unless you're spending like $900 plus, you're not going to get something that you're going to be happy with.
Gotcha.
I don't know. It's changing.
I haven't bought one.
Yeah, like I said, I'm never going to get endorsement from him now, but
There was a time when you were.
No, I'm not going to get endorsed. I love Schecters though. I've grown fond of Schecters. I play with my fingers. I don't play with the pick. Schecters, they set their action so low that I have to reset it, and I still get buzz sometimes. And I think it just adds to the tone. At this point, I just accept it because I know it's what it is.
It's part of the character of the guitar.
Yeah, I mean, I've lifted those strings off and intonated that thing time and time again. But I bought a new 5-string Schecter. There's another guy around town that had it. It's kind of funny because I saw it. I'm like, I want that bass. It's called an Evil Twin. And I bought it, and then he posted on Instagram, look at my new bass. I'm like, God damn it, I have the only one in town now. I've even said that to him, like, man, you bought that right before I did. No, but he loves it too. And I'm not a 5-string. I play mostly 4 strings, but there's times you play drop C, you need 5 and stuff.
Sure.
But that bass is amazing.
Really?
Oh, such a fat sound out of that thing. And, if you're playing active basses, you pretty much got to stick with them. I have a boost pedal, so if I want to bring the want to bring the Fender for some reason around, I can. I just boost it. Because passive bass is, it's like what, 10 or 12 dB difference or something like that.
Yeah.
But that's just me. People
Yeah.
have their own.
That's cool.
Yeah. But I've always played Ibanez. My first bass with an Ibanez PJ, so it wasn't actually passive. But it was kind of, I think it was like a Jackson ripoff. The neck looked like a Jackson. It was like made in '88, made in Korea. And neck looks like a Jackson. The body looks like a Fender. It's got the Fender bridge. And it's a PJ, so it's got both P and J pickups. And it's weird. But I had the action so high.
Sounds useful, though.
I don't play it anymore. It hangs on my wall. Every now and then I pick it up. I'm like, oh, this thing's hard to play.
That's cool.
I don't realize how good I have it now. So until I pick that bass up, I'm like, oh, yeah.
Sweetness. Well, Richard Dell, I mean, we're glad you're in Columbus, Ohio, man.
I'm glad to be here.
And,
thanks for having me come on your podcast. I love what you do and how you talk to people. I listen to a lot of what you do. And
That's cool.
There's so many incredible people in this town. And
the stories are awesome.
oh, yeah.
They're awesome.
100%.
And you're one of them.
I am now, I guess.
And
Yeah.
here you are.
Now we just got to get Kelly on here, right?
You know, Kelly knows she has an open invitation. She does. And I remind her every now and then.
Yeah.
She's been so big. I didn't want to, you know, like, I'm glad that we were able to, you know, Beth was heavily involved, like, as well, you know, you were obviously heavily involved. And I did some sponsor, you know, so I was one of the bronze sponsor, and
nice.
With the podcast. And I just think that, you know, and I'm involved with Soul Revival Band.
Yeah.
On bass. And so I know that band was a part of participation as well. And Megabeth and Beth, you know, definitely was a big part of that.
Yeah.
And Kelly and company and Radio City and, you know, Julie Neal. I mean, and just so it goes on and 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 on. And
it was so amazing to play with everybody.
Yeah.
And I love it when Beth comes on. You know, she does a great Led Zeppelin, like great Robert Plant. Like she nailed it.
She can sing a lot. She can. She's got a lot. And when she's you know, her work has been heavy, and she's got a lot of music projects going on, and she runs a theater company too. They've got theater coming up too. So she just has a lot going on. And,
nice.
But
if you need a bass player for the theater stuff, let me know. I love doing musicals.
I'll let her know.
Love doing
and
musicals.
she wanted to meet you too. She definitely was looking forward to the Richard Dell episode. And then she was out of town this week, so she's out this week. But
I'll see her again.
I'm sure you'll see her. Yeah. But yeah, man. And again, I appreciate making the time too. I think,
of course,
you know, all that stuff's going to keep going forward. It's not going to stop.
I hope not, because I'm enjoying the ride. Yeah.
Enjoy Marysville.
I do.
You know,
I'm not intended on leaving. I've turned down job offers with director paths because I had to move. I wasn't going to do it. I like this. I like where I'm at. So,
good deal.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, and the music is it's there for the creation, and we'll continue to keep our tabs on your projects, man.
Yeah. Hopefully, I see you guys out.
And I'll keep messaging you with these bass questions too. I appreciate the side of the sidecar stuff, and you know, it's cool because there's so many cool dudes that have like given me tips. Sean Pruden, in particular, told me a lot. She shared me some valuable lessons. Okay.
Sean is incredible too.
He's a good dude, and he's a powerhouse bass player. Just a powerhouse musician, powerhouse producer. You know, I love the guy. You know, like I love so many. You know, I feel so strongly about this community. It's really a lot of great times.
Agreed.
And stories and inspirations. Gotta love it.
Yeah.
Episode number 90, Richard Dell. Thanks so much, man.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
And thank you all for listening. Bye-bye.